There comes a moment in every person's life when they quietly realize they are becoming someone they never wanted to be. Not because they are evil. Not because they are incapable. But because they slowly surrendered their discipline to comfort, their dreams to distraction, and their potential to excuses. Most people never notice this transformation until years have passed, and they no longer recognize the person staring back at them in the mirror. They wake up tired. They move through life without purpose. They depend on motivation instead of building strength. And deep inside, they know they were meant for more. But the Stoics understood something powerful long before the modern world became addicted to comfort. They knew that a strong life is not built in one dramatic moment. It is built through small daily habits repeated with consistency, patience, and discipline. A powerful mind is not born. It is trained. Character is not discovered. It is forged in silence through daily choices nobody applauds. Every morning you wake up, life asks you a question. Will you remain weak, emotional, distracted, and controlled by your impulses? Or will you become disciplined, calm, focused, and unstoppable? The answer is hidden in your habits. Because your habits are not small things. Your habits become your identity. They become your future. They become the difference between a man who collapses under pressure and a man who walks through chaos with unshakable strength. Most people wait for inspiration before they take action. The Stoics would laugh at this way of living. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he must rise and do the work of a human being whether he felt like it or not. He did not worship comfort. He worshipped duty. And that is exactly why his words still inspire millions of people centuries later. Weak people wait until they feel ready. Strong people train themselves to move regardless of emotion. The truth is painful, but necessary. Your life changes the moment you stop negotiating with your excuses. Nobody is coming to rescue you. Nobody will wake up for you. Nobody will fight your inner battles for you. The responsibility belongs to you now. And while that truth can feel heavy, it is also incredibly freeing. Because if your habits created your suffering, your habits can also create your transformation. There are people right now destroying themselves slowly without realizing it. They scroll endlessly through meaningless distractions. They avoid difficult conversations. They complain about life but refuse to improve themselves. They seek validation from strangers while abandoning their own purpose. Every day they become weaker mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And the saddest part is that many of them believe this is normal. But you were not born to live half asleep. You were not born to become a prisoner of laziness and fear. You were not born to waste your potential while the clock silently moves forward. Inside you is a stronger version of yourself waiting to be awakened. A version of you that can endure pain without breaking. A version of you that does not panic under pressure. A version of you that does not quit when life becomes difficult. But that version cannot appear unless you train it daily. This is why discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation comes and goes like the wind. Some days you feel inspired. Other days you feel exhausted, frustrated, and empty. But discipline keeps moving. Discipline wakes up even when emotions disappear. Discipline carries you through moments when your mind wants to surrender. The Stoics knew this deeply. They understood that emotional control is one of the greatest forms of freedom. And freedom is not doing whatever you want whenever you want. Real freedom is mastering yourself so completely that your impulses no longer control your future. Think about how many dreams die because people refuse to develop strong habits. They want confidence without discomfort. They want success without sacrifice. They want peace while feeding chaos every day through negative thinking and destructive routines. But life does not reward wishes. Life rewards repeated action. You become unstoppable when your habits align with your purpose. You become dangerous when your mind no longer depends on comfort. You become powerful when you stop fearing temporary pain. One of the most life-changing habits you must develop is learning to protect your mornings. The way you begin your day shapes the direction of your mind. Most people wake up and immediately consume noise. Notifications. Social media. Drama. Fear. Comparison. They allow the outside world to invade their mind before they even speak to themselves. And then they wonder why they feel anxious, distracted, and emotionally drained. A Stoic morning is different. A disciplined person wakes up with intention. Before the world speaks to them, they speak to themselves. They remind themselves who they are becoming. They prepare mentally for challenges instead of being shocked by them. They understand that every day will contain frustration, difficulty, and uncomfortable moments. But instead of complaining about reality, they prepare for it. This single habit changes everything. When you stop waking up like a victim and start waking up like a warrior, your entire energy changes. You stop drifting through life emotionally. You become deliberate, calm, focused, strong. The strongest people are not always the loudest people. Often, the strongest individuals move quietly. They do not need attention because their confidence comes from self-respect. They know what they are building internally. And every disciplined morning strengthens that inner foundation. Imagine waking up tomorrow without touching your phone for the first hour. Imagine spending that time thinking deeply, exercising, reading wisdom, planning your day, and strengthening your mind. Imagine how different your life would become after repeating this habit for 1 year. Most people underestimate consistency because they are addicted to immediate results. But the Stoics understood the power of repetition. A small habit practiced daily becomes a force strong enough to transform your entire identity. Another habit that can completely transform your life is learning to embrace discomfort instead of avoiding it. Modern society teaches people to escape discomfort at all costs. The moment people feel bored, they reach for entertainment. The moment they feel stress, they seek distraction. The moment life becomes difficult, they search for the easiest escape route. But comfort has created fragile minds. The Stoics trained themselves to become comfortable with discomfort because they knew suffering is part of life. Cold mornings, rejection, failure, loss, uncertainty, criticism. None of these things can be avoided forever. The question is whether you will collapse under pressure or become stronger because of it. Every time you willingly choose discomfort, you strengthen your character. When you exercise even though you feel tired, you become stronger. When you stay disciplined while others waste time, you become sharper. When you face difficult conversations instead of avoiding them, you become emotionally mature. When you continue moving forward despite fear, you become dangerous. The uncomfortable path is often the path that leads to growth. And this is why so few people reach their true potential. They spend their lives chasing comfort while wondering why they remain weak. But comfort never made anyone powerful. Adversity reveals strength. Discipline builds it. There is also a powerful habit that many people ignore because it requires honesty. The habit of self-reflection. Most people spend their lives observing others while refusing to examine themselves. They criticize, judge, gossip, compare. But they rarely sit alone and confront their own flaws. The Stoics believe that self-awareness is essential for growth. How can you improve yourself if you refuse to see yourself clearly? Every night, ask yourself difficult questions. Did I act with discipline today? Did I control my emotions or allow them to control me? Did I waste time? Did I move closer to my purpose? Did I act like the person I claim I want to become? These questions are uncomfortable because they expose truth. But truth is necessary for transformation. Weak people avoid self-reflection because they fear accountability. Strong people seek truth because they know awareness creates change. One honest moment with yourself can alter the direction of your life. Imagine if every evening you reflected on your actions with complete honesty. Over time, your awareness would sharpen. You would begin noticing destructive patterns. You would catch yourself making excuses. You would become more intentional. Slowly, your habits would improve because your consciousness would improve. And that is how transformation truly happens. Not overnight. Not through motivation alone. But through awareness repeated daily. Another habit that can make you mentally unstoppable is learning to control your reactions. This habit alone separates emotionally weak people from emotionally powerful people. Life will test you constantly. People will disrespect you. Plans will fail. Unexpected problems will appear. Some days you will feel exhausted emotionally. But your reaction determines whether pain destroys you or strengthens you. The Stoics understood that while we cannot control external events, we can control our response to them. This is one of the greatest powers a human being can develop. Most people react impulsively. They explode in anger. They panic under pressure. They complain endlessly. They allow emotions to dictate their behavior. And because they lack emotional discipline, they create unnecessary suffering. But a disciplined mind remains steady. A Stoic mind pauses before reacting. A strong mind understands that emotional control is strength. Imagine becoming the kind of person who remains calm when others lose control. Imagine walking through chaos without allowing it to poison your peace. Imagine becoming so mentally disciplined that insults no longer shake you and temporary setbacks no longer break your spirit. That level of emotional strength changes your entire life. Because once you master your reactions, you stop being controlled by the world around you. And people notice this kind of strength. Not because you demand attention, but because calmness is rare in a world addicted to emotional chaos. One of the most dangerous habits destroying modern minds is constant distraction. People cannot sit alone with their thoughts anymore. Silence makes them uncomfortable. Focus feels impossible. Their minds are scattered across endless notifications, videos, gossip, and meaningless entertainment. And while they consume distraction endlessly, their dreams quietly fade into the background. A distracted mind cannot build a powerful life. If you want to become unstoppable, you must reclaim your focus. You must learn how to sit in silence again. You must learn how to concentrate deeply. You must learn how to protect your attention like your future depends on it. Because it does. Your attention shapes your reality. Whatever controls your attention eventually controls your life. This is why disciplined individuals are careful about what they consume mentally. They understand that the mind becomes whatever it repeatedly absorbs. Feed your mind negativity every day and your spirit becomes weak. Feed your mind wisdom, discipline, and purpose every day and your character becomes stronger. The Stoics protected their minds carefully because they knew inner peace is fragile when exposed constantly to chaos. And this lesson matters more today than ever before. You cannot become mentally powerful while constantly drowning in distraction. You cannot hear your inner voice while the noise of the world never stops. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in life happen during silence. Silence reveals truth. Silence strengthens awareness. Silence reconnects you with yourself. Another life-changing habit is learning to keep promises to yourself. This sounds simple, but it changes everything. Every time you tell yourself you will wake up early but fail to do it, you weaken self-trust. Every time you promise yourself you will stay disciplined but surrender to excuses, you damage your confidence. Most people think confidence comes from external validation. But true confidence comes from self-respect. And self-respect grows when your actions align with your words. When you become someone who keeps promises to yourself, your entire identity changes. You stop seeing yourself as weak. You stop doubting your capabilities. You begin trusting yourself deeply. And self-trust creates inner power. This is why small acts of discipline matter. Waking up when you said you would. Finishing tasks even when you feel lazy. Exercising consistently. Reading daily. Controlling impulses. Each disciplined action sends a message to your mind. I can trust myself. And when a person truly trusts themselves, they become difficult to stop. One of the most transformative habits is practicing gratitude even during difficult seasons of life. Most people only feel grateful when circumstances are easy. But Stoicism teaches something deeper. It teaches that peace comes not from controlling life, but from controlling perspective. There will always be things outside your control. People will disappoint you. Life will not always go according to plan. Pain is unavoidable. But gratitude allows you to remain grounded despite adversity. A grateful mind suffers less because it focuses on what remains instead of obsessing over what is missing. This habit does not mean ignoring pain. It means refusing to become consumed by bitterness. There are people with wealth who remain miserable because their minds are poisoned by endless dissatisfaction. And there are people facing hardship who still carry peace because they have learned to appreciate life differently. The Stoics constantly reminded themselves that life is temporary. Every breath is temporary. Every moment is temporary. And when you truly understand this, gratitude becomes natural. You stop taking simple things for granted. You appreciate another sunrise, another opportunity, another chance to improve, another moment to love the people around you. Gratitude softens the heart, while discipline strengthens the mind. And together, they create balance. There is another habit that separates strong individuals from weak individuals: the habit of taking responsibility. Weak people blame everyone else for their situation. They blame society. They blame their past. They blame circumstances. They blame other people. And while some pain truly is unfair, blame never creates transformation. Responsibility does. The moment you take responsibility for your life, your power returns. Because responsibility forces action. It forces honesty. It forces growth. The Stoics believe that your character matters more than your circumstances. And this mindset changes everything. You may not control what happened to you, but you control what you become because of it. That is power. That is freedom. That is strength. Some people spend years trapped in victim mentality. They replay their suffering endlessly without rebuilding themselves. But pain is not meant to become your permanent identity. Pain is meant to teach, strengthen, and transform you. You are stronger than your past. You are stronger than temporary failure. You are stronger than the voice in your mind that tells you to quit. But strength only grows when responsibility replaces excuses. One of the most overlooked habits is learning to guard your circle carefully. The people around you shape your energy, mindset, habits, and future more than you realize. If you surround yourself with negativity constantly, your spirit will slowly weaken. If you spend time with people who gossip endlessly, complain daily, and avoid growth, their mindset will eventually influence yours. This is why disciplined individuals protect their environment. They understand that energy is contagious. A focused person inspires focus. A lazy person spreads laziness. An ambitious person awakens ambition. And a bitter person spreads bitterness. You do not need a massive circle to live a meaningful life. You need honest people. Disciplined people. Loyal people. People who challenge you to grow instead of encouraging your weakness. Sometimes becoming unstoppable requires walking alone for a season. And that solitude can feel painful. But solitude often becomes the birthplace of transformation. Because when you are alone, you finally hear yourself clearly. You finally confront your habits honestly. You finally decide who you want to become. Do not fear solitude. Fear becoming surrounded by noise so constantly that you never discover your true self. Another powerful daily habit is training your body. The Stoics believe the body and mind are deeply connected. When your body becomes weak from laziness and neglect, your mind often becomes weaker too. Exercise is more than physical appearance. It is mental training. Every workout teaches discipline. Every difficult repetition teaches resilience. Every moment you push through fatigue teaches endurance. And these lessons extend far beyond the gym. When you train your body consistently, you begin strengthening your relationship with discomfort. You prove to yourself that you can endure difficulty. That confidence carries into every area of life. Suddenly, difficult conversations become easier. Challenges feel less overwhelming. Stress becomes more manageable. Because discipline practiced physically strengthens you mentally. Many people underestimate the emotional power of physical discipline. But there is something deeply transformative about doing hard things voluntarily. It awakens your inner strength. It reminds you that your limits are often illusions created by fear. And over time, you begin carrying yourself differently. Not with arrogance, but with quiet confidence. The confidence of someone who no longer runs from discomfort. There is also a habit that can completely transform your emotional life. Learning to let go. Many people suffer not because of reality, but because they refuse to release attachment. They cling to past mistakes, past relationships, past failures, past pain. And while life continues moving forward, their mind remains trapped in memories they cannot change. The Stoics taught acceptance. Not weakness, not passivity, but acceptance of reality. Because fighting reality endlessly creates unnecessary suffering. Some things are gone. Some people will leave. Some seasons will end. And no amount of resistance can reverse time. Peace begins when acceptance replaces resistance. This habit requires emotional maturity. It requires understanding that life is temporary and constantly changing. The strongest people are not those who never feel pain. The strongest people are those who continue moving forward despite pain. And sometimes strength means releasing what no longer serves your growth. Holding on to bitterness destroys inner peace. Holding on to resentment poisons the heart. Holding on to regret keeps you emotionally chained to the past. But letting go creates space for growth, for healing, for clarity, for freedom. Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to rebuild yourself. Another chance to become stronger. Another chance to think differently. Another chance to act with discipline. Do not waste that opportunity. Time moves faster than most people realize. One day you will look back at your life and realize that your habits quietly shaped your destiny. The question is whether those habits build strength or weakness. The world today is filled with distracted minds and emotionally fragile people. People panic easily. Quit quickly. Avoid discomfort. Seek constant validation. But you do not have to become like them. You can choose discipline. You can choose awareness. You can choose growth. You can become mentally unstoppable. Not because life becomes easy, but because you become stronger. This transformation will not happen in a single day. There will be mornings when you feel exhausted. There will be moments when your old habits try to pull you backward. There will be days when discipline feels heavy. But keep going. Because every disciplined choice strengthens your future. Every moment you resist weakness strengthens your character. Every day you continue despite difficulty, you become more powerful mentally. The Stoics understood that greatness is not built through emotional highs. It is built through consistency, through patience, through daily effort repeated quietly. Most people want dramatic transformation. But true transformation is usually invisible at first. A person wakes up earlier, becomes calmer, controls emotions better, reads more, exercises consistently, complains less, focuses more. And over time, these small habits completely change who they become. Never underestimate small disciplined actions. A single habit repeated daily can alter the course of your entire life. And one day, people will look at your strength without understanding the sacrifices that built it. They will admire your calmness without seeing the battles you fought internally. They will respect your discipline without witnessing the mornings you forced yourself to continue despite exhaustion. But you will know. You will remember the moments you refused to quit. And those moments will become the foundation of your power. Do not seek a comfortable life. Seek a meaningful one. Comfort fades quickly. Meaning creates fulfillment. A meaningful life requires courage, discipline, sacrifice, self-control. But these qualities create a strength that comfort never can. Many people spend years trying to avoid pain. Yet the avoidance itself becomes their suffering. Because growth requires challenge. Growth requires uncertainty. Growth requires facing yourself honestly. And once you stop fearing discomfort, your entire life changes. Imagine becoming so mentally disciplined that temporary emotions no longer control your decisions. Imagine becoming so focused that distractions lose their power over you. Imagine becoming so emotionally strong that criticism no longer shakes your identity. That version of yourself already exists inside you. But it must be trained daily. Your habits either strengthen that version or weaken it. Choose carefully. Every sunrise is another opportunity to rebuild your mind. Every challenge is another opportunity to strengthen your character. Every difficult moment is another opportunity to prove to yourself that you are capable of more. The Stoics believe that obstacles are not interruptions to life. They are part of life. And sometimes the obstacle itself becomes the path toward transformation. Your struggles can either destroy you or awaken you. The difference lies in your mindset. Weak minds ask why life is difficult. Strong minds ask how difficulty can strengthen them. This perspective changes everything. Suddenly pain becomes a teacher. Failure becomes wisdom. Discomfort becomes training. And adversity becomes fuel. There is tremendous power in refusing to become bitter. Life will test your heart repeatedly. Some people will betray you. Some efforts will fail. Some dreams will take longer than expected. But bitterness weakens the soul. Resilience strengthens it. Do not allow temporary pain to turn you into someone you no longer respect. Remain disciplined. Remain grounded. Remain focused. And most importantly, remain committed to your growth. The world desperately needs people with emotional discipline. People who can think clearly under pressure. People who do not collapse emotionally every time life becomes uncomfortable. People who choose wisdom over impulse. People who seek growth instead of endless distraction. Become one of those people. Not for validation. Not for attention. But because your future depends on it. One day your habits will either become your prison or your freedom. The small decisions you make daily are shaping the person you are becoming. Every hour matters. Every action matters. Every thought matters. And while that truth may feel intense, it is also empowering. Because it means your transformation is possible starting today. Not next year. Not when circumstances become perfect. Not when motivation magically appears. Today. Right now. You can decide to become stronger. You can decide to reclaim your focus. You can decide to stop feeding weakness. You can decide to build habits that create peace, discipline, and power. The Stoics understood that a meaningful life is not found accidentally. It is built intentionally. Brick by brick. Habit by habit. Choice by choice. And although the process is difficult, the reward is extraordinary. Because there is nothing more powerful than becoming someone who can trust themselves completely. Someone who remains calm during storms. Someone who continues moving forward despite fear. Someone who refuses to surrender to weakness. That is true strength. That is true freedom. That is what it means to become unstoppable. If this message speaks to something deep inside you, do not ignore it. Too many people spend their lives waiting for change while refusing to change themselves. Do not become one of them. Your future is shaped by what you repeatedly do. Not occasionally. Repeatedly. Every disciplined action plants a seed. And eventually those seeds become your reality. So wake up with intention. Protect your mind. Train your body. Control your reactions. Guard your focus. Reflect honestly. Keep promises to yourself. Practice gratitude. Accept discomfort. Take responsibility. And never stop rebuilding yourself. Because the strongest version of you is waiting on the other side of discipline. And once you meet that version of yourself, you will realize something powerful. You were never weak. You were simply untrained. If you enjoyed this video and want more powerful Stoic wisdom that strengthens your mindset and sharpens your discipline, subscribe to the channel and join this journey toward becoming mentally unstoppable. Your transformation begins now.